His Majesty the King now was the Prince of Wales for over 50 years, and in that time he performed an extraordinary role as Prince Héritier, and shaped a whole load of issues, issues that were very close to him, and issues which have now become mainstream, but when he first started to raise them, they weren't. Issues around climate change, environmental protection, about how we design our cities, sustainable city design, and also about encouraging interfaith dialogue and treasuring traditional skills. These are all areas in which he took a close personal interest. And I found that his own interest and contribution in these areas was of great interest to other countries as well. And so when he would visit other countries on official visits with Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Cornwall, now Her Majesty the Queen, this would provide a very strong and serious basis for their programs for those visits. I think what it's shown me is that every country has a large array of representatives, from people who don't have an official representative position, but are very much in the public eye. This could be social media influencers. It could be Rosella Ayaan, our wonderful Moroccan-British footballer who is on her way to Australia to represent the Lionesses of the Atlas at the moment. She's a great example of the UK-Morocco modern relationship in action. And this goes, of course, up to official representatives. And as a head of state, you have a vitally important role, but one in which you can bring your own personal influence. Now, in particular, I think monarchs have the ability, because of their length of tenure and their certainty of tenure, as well as the fact that in general they don't have an executive role in the country, can influence in a positive and really encouraging way. And I see this similarity of approach between both our monarchs, between King Charles and His Majesty King Mohammed VI. The way in which they bring their wisdom and their experience to bear, and they have the respect of their nations. And respect is something that is earned, and both have earned that respect. And so, in terms of my diplomatic career, the answer is that both the UK and Morocco have a remarkable diplomatic asset in our sovereigns. And we should be very proud of it and take full advantage. The King's birthday party, and of course this will be our first ever King's birthday party in this embassy, since for the previous 70 years we've been celebrating a Queen's birthday. So what is most different is the title. We are all still getting used to it being the King's birthday party. It'll be something of a transition. We will be remembering Her Majesty the late Queen, whose Platinum Jubilee we were celebrating at this time last year. And at the same time, we will be honouring and celebrating the coronation of His Majesty King Charles and Queen Camilla. And so it'll be that special moment of the celebration of the birthday, first time of His Majesty as King. And if you want an insight into the little things that we have been able to add, in addition to a wonderful 3-meter tall crown, which is going to be, indeed at the moment, is being adorned with flowers, very similar to one that was present in Westminster Abbey for the coronation. But we've also done something a little bit special. Now, there's a tradition in the UK of creating a commemorative postcard to remember coronations, and it goes right back to the coronation of Edward VII in 1902. And there's been a special coronation postcard each time. Now, on this occasion, we have a display in the garden of all of those previous postcards up to and including the coronation of Her Majesty the Queen in 1953. And we have created our own UK-Morocco commemorative postcard. So we will be putting that out in our social media, and the lucky people who come to our party this evening will all be receiving a copy of it.
Thank you, sir.
In the first instance, it was a great pleasure and honour that His Royal Highness Prince Moulay Rashid represented His Majesty at the funeral of Her Majesty the Queen, and that Her Royal Highness Princess Lala Merriam represented His Majesty at the coronation in May. This was a sign of just how close that royal relationship is, and so it is a naturally close and understanding relationship. His Majesty the King is a knight of the most royal Victorian order, following his accompanying his father on a state visit some years ago. His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, now His Majesty the King, paid his last official visit here just over 10 years ago. And so we look forward to future visits. These visits have to be very carefully prepared because they are so important. So I can't give you a specific time, but we are looking forward to that. And that, if you like, is the crowning achievement in a bilateral relationship, and in our case, a bilateral relationship which is growing all the time. We recently held our ministerial strategic dialogue here in Rabat, which showed the level of agreement and similarity of thought between our two governments and our ambitions in this region and more widely. Because we are in a period where we see our relations on an upward trend in so many different areas, it's a wonderful time to be a British ambassador in Morocco, and our role is we sometimes are able to take the initiative to promote developments in certain areas. Generally, our role is to facilitate. The way that relations between two countries grow most effectively is when they are organically developed by organizations. It could be civil society organizations, governmental organizations, businesses, and by individuals. And so what we are trying to do is build the pillars that support our relationship. In education, for example, we've been able to help with a very close collaboration with the Moroccan Ministry of Education, National Education, and also of Higher Education, so that we now have a growing number of British schools, and we now have a British university about to open its gates here in Bouskoura. And in that way we will encourage much greater mutual understanding and connection between the two countries. So we can support and explain when there are major investment projects. We can, if you like, provide the framework for discussions so that we can pursue ever more useful and optimistic and ambitious military collaboration, training exercises jointly together, and this kind of thing. Inshallah, we'll see more flights between our two countries as well, so that it is easier, particularly, I have to say, between Rabat and London. We would love to see more flights there, but the number of British visitors is going through the roof. It was on an upward trend before COVID, and of course there has been there has been a hiatus. But in the first 4 months of this year, we have seen nearly 25% increase in the number of visitors compared to 2019, so compared to pre-COVID times. And that's a sign of just how prominent Morocco is in the UK. Not just as a tourist destination, but it gives you a sign of just how much recognition there is of what Morocco has to offer, and I think that is going to lead to a further development, if not an explosion of activity across a whole variety of fields. I think the way I would answer that is to say that His Majesty King Charles, in developing and supporting so many civil society organisations during his time as Prince of Wales, I have learned just how powerful the work in support of young people, of entrepreneurship, of helping particularly in remote areas girls to get access to education and therefore to employment. Also to respect traditional crafts and to not just so that they are not lost, but actually to give confidence and pride to young people, particularly young people who come from communities where employment is hard to find. And my experience in working in the royal household is that whereas government policies and interventions are hugely important, you can build on those and create more through a caring and inspired royal leadership. In Morocco, we have a number of really special royal foundations, charities who are supporting the Moroccan people in many different ways. And I would like to see more ways in which we can develop links between these kind of organisations in both our countries to the mutual benefit, not just of governments and royal families, but actually to ordinary people in both countries.